Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here this afternoon. I appreciate it. I want to thank also, I'm Sharon Ramage. I'm the other candidate for County Court at Law number 2, and I also want to thank my husband, Todd Ramage, who's here with me today. We're proud Collin County residents and very proud parents of Sarah and Rachel, our 11-year-old twins, and we try to instill in them the values that we grew up with. We're raising them in our faith. We both attend St. Jude's Catholic Church in Allen, and we have trained our daughters and are teaching them that we have a responsibility as citizens to use our talents and our gifts to give back to the community and to serve others. And I respect Mr. Walker's service in the military. I have spent 20 years in this profession serving others in my profession. I went into the practice of law because I believe it is a service profession. Sometimes I think we're losing our way a little bit, but I firmly believe it is a service profession. I've been endorsed by the Coalition for Better Government, by more than 30 precinct chairs, by the Texas Homeschool Coalition, PAC, and I've been endorsed by many conservative Republican leaders in our county, such as Candy Noble, Sharon Albertson, Jody Rushton, Lori Medina, and I'm very proud of those endorsements. I'm running for this court because I believe experience and judgment matter at the courthouse. I have been an attorney for 20 years, and I can promise you and assure you that I am not the same attorney today that I was at 7 years. Judgment that the bench deserves comes from length and depth of experience. And this court hears criminal cases, and it also hears civil cases, and I disagree with Mr. Walker. You check with any county court of law judge, they will tell you they do their civil docket 2 days a week on Thursdays, some of them Thursdays and Fridays. There's a backlog of the civil cases, and most of the courts devote at least 1 week per month to jury trials. But a lot of what the judge does on the civil docket is very different from what the judge does on the criminal docket, because there are many matters that are heard outside of a jury trial, and if a civil matter is before a judge on its docket, it's because it needs the court's attention, it needs a legal ruling, so they can make their decisions and move on. And with the legislature just doubled the damage limits for the county courts because we are in a crisis with our district courts. We don't have enough of them, and we don't have the money to fund more, so we're increasing the amount of civil cases that can go to the county court. I'm the only candidate in this race with significant experience in both areas. I started as a prosecutor, and the county courts, from a criminal standpoint, are the building block courts. Just like any other prosecutor that starts out in the state, I started in misdemeanor court, and I was handed a file on my first day in the courtroom and told to go pick a jury and try a case, and I did. That experience that I gained in the county court is the foundation for everything else I have done in the practice of law. Moving up to felony, spending almost 3 years prosecuting the most heinous child abuse cases, sex offenses against children, child homicides. And then when I left the district attorney's office after 5 great years, I took the advice of one of my county judges. That's where I learned my best lessons as a lawyer, is from my county court judges because of their depth of experience. He told me, Sharon, branch out and diversify. You'll be a better attorney for it. Don't limit yourself. And so I continue to practice criminal law. I continue to practice criminal law today. I still handle criminal cases. In fact, Mr. Walker and I have represented potential co-defendants in a criminal matter while this campaign has been pending. I continue to handle criminal appeals, and I continue to practice civil and family litigation. And the basis that I had, the foundation that I gained from my county court days, whether it was prosecuting domestic violence cases, prosecuting crimes against children, that's formed the basis and the foundation for me in my family litigation practice, and there's not a thing that I do in the practice of law that I don't draw on from my county court days. That is the foundation, and the judge in the county court serves a unique role, not only serving the county and serving the citizens, hearing cases, but a unique role in the development of lawyers, because that is where young lawyers learn how to be lawyers, is in the county court. That takes a judge with experience. That takes a judge with a length and a depth of experience. But the most important experience I bring to this court is I've been doing what judges do for 9 years. I have been hearing cases, applying the law, applying the rules that apply in the courtroom, one case at a time, one citizen at a time, for 9 years, with over 500 cases assigned to me through my contract. I have been making rulings that affect the lives of everyday citizens. And I've learned, when I started this process 9 years ago, I thought my most important experience as a judge would be my 100+ jury trials, all my countless bench trials, all my time in the courtroom, and I learned very quickly that the most important thing that a judge does is the opposite of what we do as lawyers. As lawyers, we advocate, we are zealous, we take a position, and we're biased for our client. A good judge is a silent listener, listens and applies the law and gives people the respect and dignity and treats each case as the only one before them. And I promise to respect the constitutional limits of the role of a judge. I don't believe judges have the power to reduce taxes. I'm not going to promise to meddle into the budgets of the other elected officials. I think he self can manage the budget for our county pretty well, but because that is not a part of our role. Our role is to preside in that courtroom, run an efficient courtroom, and apply the law one case at a time, one citizen at a time, and to approach this role with modesty and humility and respect. Please check me out and vote for me, Sharon Ramage. Check me out at SharonRamageForJudge.com.
I have one question. The question is, do you believe all citizens have adequate access to legal help in our legal system? If not, what can be done to provide wider and better access?
Well, I've been practicing 20 years, and I don't think I've ever seen a misdemeanor case that's had a $100,000 bond. But in any event, I believe everyone has equal access to justice, or adequate access to justice. I don't believe everybody has equal representation. I think lawyers are different, retained lawyers are different. But I think it's the system we've got, and it's the system we have to work with. I think what we need to improve is people's access to that, and that's improved in a couple of different ways. First, running an efficient, cost-effective courtroom. And I think that's done first I think we need to be cognizant of our jail cases on the criminal docket, and I think those need to be managed efficiently so people aren't sitting in jail costing the taxpayers a lot of money. If their case can be handled and they can be released or continue serving their sentence. We're talking about misdemeanor courts, so the maximum that anybody's going to be in jail is for up to a year, and we all know that a year in jail time is not a year in real time. I think the other thing that we need to be cognizant of is making sure that people have adequate access to representation, and a judge does not have the power to remove a retained attorney. There's a specific ethics opinion on that, but the judge does have some control and power over the appointment of attorneys that represent indigent defendants, ensuring that they're receiving competent, effective assistance of counsel. That's the standard that we must go by. I think another thing that's very important to improve the access to justice is to remember this isn't just a criminal court. This is a criminal in a civil court, and it's a civil court. The civil caseload is going to increase. That's by design. The legislature has made it very clear that it's going to increase that civil caseload by doubling the damage limits, and there are talks about increasing them more. That's happened throughout the state. And I think it's absolutely crucial that we have judges that have experience in more than one area of the law, not just a portion of the court's docket. A big part of what the court does and the judge does in a civil docket, it's not about the jury trial. In fact, I would say that what a judge does in a jury trial is probably the smallest part of what a judge does, whether it's a criminal case or a civil case. What that judge has to do is actively manage that civil docket well and effectively, be knowledgeable about the law, the substantive law, so we can make rulings in that case law, that there's not a backlog of cases. Because if that happens, that backs up the criminal docket. We need judges with experience in both so we can improve everybody's access to justice. I also support alternative court times because I think, especially in misdemeanor court, it's not unusual to go down to the courthouse and see people lining the courthouse all morning. Those are citizens that are away from work. Frequently loved ones with them, and they can be out working, being productive members of society. We need to have early dockets so that people can get in and out of court and get in and out of court quickly. I also support exploring options such as a night court so we can have persons not have to lose work and have access to justice. And so those are many of the areas that I would like to improve upon and bring my experience to the bench.
Thank you very much.